What's going on, guys? This is Oliver, formerly from Response AI. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining how we validated our last software product, Response AI, which ended up, at around 500 plus paying users, which we then exited. So in essence, really, this video is going to be about how, you can validate your product for very cheap. In other words, validation is the most important part of the process, apart from actually marketing and selling the product, because you can effectively avoid, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years of real heartache by validating your product before actually building it and selling it and that kind of thing. So, obviously to get started, validation is sort of the unsung kind of villain. So everyone wants to avoid it. Most founders treat it like a chore. It's something to sort of rush through so they can get back to the sort of the real work of coding and actually talking to people about the product. Now, this mindset is why no one makes any money, and you won't make any money with your software. It's boring, which is good because no one wants to do it. And if you do it, you'll actually win because the bar is so damn low. So obviously, validation isn't a step. It's more like a sort of a mindset, as cheesy as that sounds. So you're sort of systematically de-risking your assumptions about your product before you commit years of your life to obviously building the product. SaaS can be years. So obviously in 2025, there's AI tools that can clone like platforms and apps and things like that. And validation now, because so many people are building dumb shit that no one wants, obviously validation is critical. So if we sort of dissect why most founders get validation wrong and how to do it right, I think that'll set you guys up for success, So really the founder's bias trap is essentially the idea that what you see is all there is. So psychologist Daniel Kahneman talked about how we fall in love with our solutions, not the problem itself. So in essence, really, everyone thinks they're really fucking smart when they're actually not. And you're going to build something that isn't actually proven to be something that people want, but because it's really cool and you've built it yourself, that is going to completely cloud your judgment, and it's going to make you invest in something, time and energy and money, into building something that no one actually wants. Now, it blinds us to the fact that our pain points might not be the market's pain points. So people really like to assume that, they're living an experience that thousands of other people do. That's not always the case. Now, if you adopt a sort of thinking called jobs to be done, which is JTBD, you stop asking, would you buy my product? Is it cool? And you start asking things like, what job are you hiring a product to do? So in other words, obviously this comes from Clayton Christensen. You're sort of going to the actual solution of the problem rather than thinking like, oh, is my tool cool? So an example would be, would you guys use an AI social media scheduler, right? No one fucking wants to talk about that, right? It's just been done 1,000 times. But if you ask someone, how do you currently plan content calendars and what frustrates you about it? That's when the real need will surface, and not these sort of polite hypotheticals, because people are polite. They'll fucking tell you that they like something or they think something's a cool idea. They're going to either try and get you off their back, or they're just trying to be nice and trying to sort of encourage you, because people will be encouraging, but it will manifest as something horrifying because they'll encourage you to do something that isn't going to work, which is obviously terrible. Now, with the rise of you can like create surveys and landing pages really, really quickly, you're going to be drowning in like what I call faux validation. So a Reddit user will comment, oh, this is fucking amazing, I love it. Send me the payment link. A LinkedIn poll you post or something on Twitter, it'll show 80% of people have the problem, whatever it may be. As soon as you fucking ask for money like that, they're gonna disappear, gone. Like they're just not gonna fucking pay you, right? And this means that your product might suck, right? There's not an immediate value to the product that makes people want to buy it. And to resolve this problem of people saying it's a really cool idea, but they don't actually pay you, is by using what's called a traceable development. So this is from something called the pragmatic programmer. And it's where you build the smallest possible version, guys, of your product that delivers the core value, and then you charge for that, right? So obviously you've got to have an assumption that people are going to buy it in the first place. So with my software, trycomb.com, which is in the description, it's just a list of like 150 odd thousand emails from tech company CEOs, right? So you can see that at face value that could be charged for. And that's how you can get validation on that, is you have an idea that looks immediately valuable. And you do have to have some kind of sixth sense with that. You're going to have to go through a lot of failures to find an idea that is immediately valuable. But think of, how taglines work. My tagline for Tricomb is, do you want to access 160,000 CEOs in the next 2 minutes for $67? And that's why I'm making, on autopilot, making about $3,000 a month with it, because I just don't. People don't have to think about that value. So anyway, the traceable development, the smallest possible version of your product that delivers one core value, right? So an example is, before building a full CRM solution like fucking Salesforce, you can create a Google Sheet template with automation scripts and then sell it for $29, right? And who knows? Who fucking knows if this is a good idea? It's just an example. But if 50 people buy it, then you might have validated demand for a deeper problem, right? And then you can build it. Do not fucking sit there for 6 months and build something that does not have any track record for people wanting that stuff, right? It just doesn't work like that. You can build the software really quick, which is great, but it's still important not to sink years into the building part before you get your first chance at bat for a customer paying you. You've got to try and get money, guys. You've got to send a link. You've got to say, buy this. And if people say no, then, excuse me, it's not good news. So the 2024, that should be 2025. It's 2025 now. The 2025 validation playbook, quantitative Guerrilla validation. So forget surveys. For people just lie on surveys, or they don't fucking click on them, right? Fake door tests. So you're going to create a landing page for your software with a buy now button. When users click on it, say, whoa, you can't buy it right now. But you can track the clicks to that link and to that button. And this is coming soon. Get early access at 50% off, whatever it may be, right? We've created a landing page that says what it does, shows a payment link. And then if people are clicking the payment link, then that demonstrates some intent to buy a product, right? You don't have to fucking exist yet. We get 100 clicks to that. There's 100 people who are like trying to buy your stuff, right? That's usually a good idea, because they're not saying, oh, I will buy it in 6 months' time. They're not saying, oh, I love this idea, I'd pay £1 million for it. No, they're actually clicking on it to use it. People don't click on payment links to fart around. They click on payment links to actually buy, right? So you can measure with that fake door test, you can measure people clicking on that link with like Google Analytics. And then it'll show you if people are actually watching it and actually like interested in it. Basically, you're tricking people into thinking it's real. And you can even run some ads to this page, even if it's fucking $50, guys, to see if it gets clicks. So you can run $50 of ads to the page with a tagline that says, like, I built a software that helps you do X. And if people actually click on the link and then click on the payment link, then you're in business, You can buy loads of different softwares like Ahrefs and SEMrush and stuff like that. A lot of these have like free trials where you can reveal if people are searching on Google and stuff like that for solutions. So if AI Meeting Note Taker has, 1,000 monthly searches, but low competition, which that has pretty high competition, but you found a blue ocean, and a blue ocean is a good thing for software. It means that there's opportunity for you to build something cool. Now there's hundreds of free versions of like keyword tools everywhere. And they can be used to identify the problem. So if, for example, with Guerrilla, my AI social monitoring, I just looked up monitor social media and AI social monitor and stuff like that. And it got like a couple hundred, searches. And I'm like, oh, okay, people are searching for this. And the current competitors aren't very good. So I just built something that was better. So obviously sloithing and spying. So you can scrape niche forums like Indie Hackers, Designer News, Reddit, subreddit, Twitter, whatever it may be. There's things like Phantom Buster that help you actually find people based on keywords. And shameless plug, Guerrilla helps you do this at scale, which is software I built that helps you scrape Reddit and X for those keywords. So I would look up AI Note Taker or Meeting AI or whatever it may be, and it would find keywords based off of that and people talking about the idea. So The pre-sale gambit. So Jason Cohen, who founded WordPress Engine, which is a giant company, he pre-sold his first software by offering lifetime deals, and he hadn't even written a line of code yet. So he banked about 20K in 48 hours, and that is obviously validation because people have given you $20,000. So you can offer a founding member tier with GetSeer and with Trico, my two softwares. I call this just an early bird discount where they get it for whatever. You can just make it up. And you can promote it in communities where your ideal customers live. So if it's like a cybersecurity tool, there's like r/sysadmin. If it's an e-com tool, then it's r/Shopify. You get the gist, guys. Do you know what I mean? You've just got to make sure that you get a couple of people on that pre-sale, or at least interested in the pre-sale. And you can use urgency. So first 50 signups get X or Y. Like that's obviously a good thing. And it's gonna, even if it's made up, guys, you just got to say it to get people in. Now, reading between feedback lines. So the non-response signal. So there's a gentleman called Rob Walling who's made a couple of really big softwares. And he said that if, indifference is market feedback. So in other words, if you bring out your stuff and no one's interested in it, then that is data. If 90% of your DMs, because I aim for you guys to send 1,000 DMs, send 1,000, that's what, like fucking 100 a day for 10 days. Like if you can't do that, then you just pack it in and go work in fucking Walmart. If those get ignored, then that's bad data, man. That's not good. You need to have a couple of people go, ooh, what's this? So now this is why volume is so important, because if you send 1,000 DMs about something and no one responds, then that could be a good sign it's not a good idea. And you shouldn't marry your idea, guys. So my question to you is, do you guys want to be rich or do you want to be right? And rich is the answer. You don't want to be right. No one gives a fuck about being right. Only politicians give a shit about being right. So don't marry your idea. Do you want to be rich? No. Yes, you do. Of course you do. Now, the anchoring hack. So people lie about willingness to pay. So this is going to happen a lot, guys. People are going to be like, oh my God, I love it. Give you the money. I'll just send you some money right now. It's not going to happen. They're doing that just to be nice. So you got to counteract this with actual price anchoring. So you say, what would you expect to pay for this? Or what would you pay for this? Would you pay X dollars if it included Y feature or product? And then you got to say, what's the maximum you'd pay? In fact, a good sort of like maxim for this is, what's the minimum? What would be really cheap for you? So these are the three questions, sorry. So what is too cheap for this product? And they'll say fucking $12, right? And you say, what's like a really fair price that still feels like a steal? They'd say $29. And they say, what's too expensive? And they say $79. Okay, well, I'm going to charge somewhere in the middle, $39. That means you're being competitive. You're not commoditizing the product, but people have said that they wouldn't pay for it if it was this amount. So don't fucking charge that, Now, this triangulates real pricing. And it gives you an actual field of data about pricing. People are very keen with their money, right? And they know that you're probably going to crawl back in a couple of weeks' time when you've coded the damn thing and go, oh, can you buy, please? Right? So they might even say at the start, I'm going to pay nothing. I ain't paying you a dime, right? And those are typically muppets who you don't need to talk to anyway. But if you're in that position where loads of people have said, oh, there's a free version of this online and I don't need to pay for it, so why would I pay you? Then that's bad news, guys. But that's okay. You've got to rephrase it as bad news to closer to getting very, very rich. Because if you're going after a shit idea and everyone has told you, blown smoke up your ass, oh, this is a great idea, and it's not, you're going to waste 2 years of your life building a software that no one gives a shit about. Another obvious way of validating the price is just by searching online for competitors who are doing the same thing as you. You've just got to see what they offer them for what price. So just look at their pricing tables. They offer XYZ, offer $29 a month. Whoop, wow, there it is. There's your pricing validation, assuming you are building something similar to them. Now, the edge case paradox. So if you're building a project management tool, for example, and 3 users are begging for some fucking blockchain integration, just ignore them. An edge case is basically, guys, like a tiny use case that only a couple of people are going to use, and it's going to take you decades to build all this stuff. And you'll have a lot of people who can't code telling you it would be perfect if you added X, right? So this is because people are not confident that they can build something themselves, because coding is hard, but it's not if you do, if you do it right. And they're more confident that they can coax you into building it for them because you're desperate for customers, right? So if the one dude asks for something and it's not on your roadmap, just politely say, I ain't doing that. Sorry. You shouldn't let someone else's sort of like little tidbit affect your vision for a product. And you certainly shouldn't sell your soul for $29, man. We're looking to get 1,000 people at $29 and then selling it for $500,000. We're not looking to, please everyone and go down some rabbit hole of, creating random fucking features. So, validation's North Star, the referral cascade. So, basically, this slide is long, but it basically just tells you that if people are referring other people to your product in the early days, it means that you've got good validation. So recently, I saw Dropbox did this. They just, they measured how many people invited their friends to stuff. So in the early days, if you talk to enough people, a few people will refer others, right? And that's a good idea. No, that's a good sign, sorry, because people want to be right, and people only want to refer people when they're confident they're right about something. Because, if you ever tell someone to go watch a fucking movie, and they watch the movie and they think it's dog shit, and you're like, I'm gonna kill myself, because it makes you look dumb. If you're having people refer other people to your product, then it's a good sign that you're doing something right. Because why would you want to refer someone unless you were confident that they can deliver on that? So Dropbox's referral program drove like 35% of signups, proving that this was obviously had demand. And people are happy to listen to you blabber, guys. They might even agree with you, to be polite. But will they tell other people that they care about your stuff? And this happens with movies. So I saw like Nosferatu recently, and I fucking love that. I must have told like 20 people to go see it. That is insane virality, because that's a 1 to 20 viral multiplier of me watching Nosferatu to me telling loads of people to watch it. Imagine if you could do that with 1,000 people, and that's what Dropbox did. So if people are telling you about your product, if people are telling other people about your product in the early days when it sucks, then it's a good thing. Now, you can build a viral hook. So Calendly's invite guests feature, it basically just went viral, and people were inviting loads of people to use Calendly. Now, I did this by offering 50% off to both people if someone was referred. So my tool was $199 a month. It was expensive, but if you referred someone, you'd get 50% off. They get 50% off, whatever. And this meant an incentive to refer a user and an incentive to be referred, and it worked well as a chain, right? The other side is you can offer a bounty. So get 1 month free for every friend who pays and stuff like that. There are hundreds, guys, of these kinds of deals and bounties and offers. You just have to Google it. Just ask like Perplexity or Claude or ChatGPT, like, what are some cool viral hooks for my software that I can use like Dropbox or Calendly? Now, if it feels novel and it feels like it could work, you've got to try it out, guys, because we got to 500 users by offering discounts on plans, which is very, very simple. The more these bounties are sort of spread around, people are going to refer other people your way, and then you have more and more validation, which is great. Right. The most important part of this video is killing your darlings, right? So basically, you're probably going to be wrong, and that's okay. There's videos like this that are going to help you be less wrong, but I can't actually guide you in the right direction. I don't know what you're building. I'm building a community soon that'll like keep you on track, and you're basically going to be building with me, alongside me, that kind of thing. So I'm bringing that out soon. But until that day comes, you're going to be on your own. So as Y Combinator says, it's better to have 100 people love you than 1 million people kind of like you, If your idea fails, validation, that's absolutely fine. If no one cares, then it's a good thing. It's not an insulting thing. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It means that you're trying to do something. You're trying to build something. And that is great, guys. Like, that is cool. Think of all the people who are fucking losers. They don't build anything. They don't care about anything. They're not trying to pursue anything. They just sit and eat pizza and fucking bagels all day, man. We are building something. Now, Slack began, which Slack has hundreds of fucking millions of people on it. They began as like some gaming company thing, and then they became Slack. And then Notion were the same thing. They started as a failed gaming platform, right? So no one cares what you're doing, what you were doing 5 years ago, what you're doing now, what you're doing 2 days ago. That's all fluff, right? They only care about what problem you have to solve. So if you have to pivot 100 times, then so be it. Now, this is a bit sort of pessimistic because we're assuming that you won't fail and you'll become a SaaS millionaire. But you can actually fail with grace and you can make loads of money from a failure, right? So you can sell the code from a software. If it broke, that's okay. You can sell it for like $500 or some shit. I don't care. You can open source the code so that it becomes a bit more like popular. You can refund early adopters if they ask, but if they got value from it, then just don't. Like, you know, if they're asking for a refund, then refund them. And you can share postmortems. So people love, right? People love you sharing these things because it earns you trust, and you'll get more trust for your next venture and you'll grow your audience this way, right? So failing is very admirable, and failing is actually very popular. Now, we got dozens of customers for our new software by simply being transparent about failures and wins along the way. Luckily, response was a bit of a winner. I've had failures before and that kind of thing. And once you talk about all those things in sort of quick recession and you are transparent about them, people start really liking you, man. Doing this has gotten me 3,000 followers on X, which is more than enough to sustain a new business. So if I have any fucking idea, guys, I just post it and say, would anyone like this? And like 17 people respond and go, this sounds like a good idea. There's my validation. So you guys need to create an audience. And to do that, you just have to start tweeting and posting on LinkedIn or whatever. You just have to have a small baseline of people who are interested in having a chat with you, you know? So 48-hour validation challenge. So day one, you're going to use random tools, just manual scraping, whatever it may be, or you can use Guerrilla to find people on Reddit and LinkedIn and Twitter talking about keywords for your thing. So say if you're doing an AI note taker or a to-do list or a CRM, you can start looking up keywords that are adjacent to that idea. Deploy some fake door landing page like we talked about, on Card. Then you can DM prospects with the jobs to be done questions like, what job are you hiring a product to do? What problems do you fall into? What problems are you trying to solve right now? You know, would you pay for this? What would you pay for this? How much would you pay for it? What's too much? What's too little? What's just in the middle? Those kinds of things, right? Now, day two, you got to analyze the responses. So you should send about 1,000 DMs, obviously, but analyze the responses as they come in. If people are just ignoring you, then it's bad news, man. If a couple of people respond to you and say, this sounds like a cool idea, I've been trying to look for this myself, then we've got good validation. If you've got 10 of those people, then that's great validation. The tools you can use with Guerrilla, obviously. Card helps you build a landing page. You can use Stripe for the pre-sales, and then Tally is like a good idea, a good like website where you can create forms for people to answer questions and stuff if you want to go down the survey route. And like I said, you know, if you're running ads, you should aim for like a couple of thousand people to see your offer. And if you are not running ads, then you should just run 1,000 DMs. Now get a few dozen people to talk about it and give their feedback. And people are nice, guys. They actually will tell you what they like and dislike. As long as you send enough DMs. Don't send fucking 6 and then be like, no one responded to me. No, they're not going to, man. You gotta have volume. Anyone in 2025, not 4, 5. I keep having spelling errors in this fucking thing. Anyone can build software. The scarce resource is not technical skill. It's validation discipline. So that's really fluffy, but what it means is it doesn't matter if you can build stuff. It just matters if you can find the audience to buy it, right? So the founders who win are those who treat validation as an advantage. So if you validate your product, you are light years ahead of these geezers and these dudes who are not doing it, right? And Paul Graham once said, the way to get startup ideas is to look for problems, not to try and think of the ideas. Now, validation is when you found a problem that people want solving. So now, guys, go and ask some people if they like your product idea and let's make some money. Any problems at all, give me a shout. Any questions, just comment. Reach out to me on Twitter. God bless, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.